Hello, this is Cheyenne, and I'd like to speak with you about something that's really, really important. And I think it's something that we need to spread around and make sure that everyone knows about. Because here soon there's going to be um, a big event that's going to take place, and it's going to be all over the news channel. And what it's going to be about is about the aliens. And people don't realize what the aliens really truly are, and they're going to fall for this terrible lie. And people need to realize that these aliens have been here before. They were here before the flood. In fact, they are the reason why God flooded the world. And I know that a lot of y'all that do go to church may not have heard about that when when y'all went to Sunday school or were in church and stuff like that. But it is it's there in the Bible if you read Genesis 6. Okay, go to Genesis 6 and let's read this together. And I use the King James Version Bible. It's the one I like the most. It says, "And it came to pass, when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them." Okay, and when you read that verse, it's basically talking about humans. It says, "When it came to pass, when human began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters, humans, were born unto them." People. This is talking about people. Okay, then it goes to, verse 2, "that the sons of God saw the daughters of men." Now, why would it be talking about just humans if it, when it says it like that? It doesn't make sense. If it was just talking about just regular humans, it wouldn't state it like that. Okay, it says sons of God saw the daughters of men. Daughters of men is humans. Sons of God, that would make it seem like it's not human. It would be angels, like fallen angels. We have good angels and we have bad angels. And the bad angels that were the sons of God, they that's what the Bible calls the angels, the sons of God. They saw the daughters of men. And it says right here that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, and he took them wives of all which they chose. And the Lord said, "My spirit shall not always strive with men, for that he also is flesh." Why would he use that phrase for flesh? Think about it. "Yet his days shall be 120 years." There were giants in the earth in those days. Why would it say that? It's this right here tells you what was going on. There was, it says there are giants in the earth. Okay, not only is Genesis 6 talk about there's a lot of scriptures in the Bible that talks about the giants. And there's even a story about David and Goliath, and Goliath was a giant. So they were real. They were really real. And in fact, they have what do you call archaeologists have actually found huge skeletons. But you don't hear about it because, of course, our world is in control by Satan right now, and a lot of that information, they don't want people to know about, because then it would prove more to people that the Bible is true. The only way that you can actually find this information is if you dig for it. And I've digged around, and I see the proof. But you have to also realize that there's a lot of people out there that hate the Bible and Jesus so much that they even go as far as trying to make up fake pictures, with the Photoshop, to throw in with the pictures that are real, so that way when you see that one that's fake, then you'll think they're all fake. So you got to keep that in mind, because they do that on purpose to try to take credit, take the truth away from people, so that way everything looks like a lie. That's why they do it, because they don't want people to know that the Bible is real and true. And so you need to keep that in mind. But right here it says there were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that. So it was even after the flood, when the sons of God came unto the daughters of men, and they bore children to them. The same became mighty men, which were of old, men of renown. Right there it tells you that they bore children, and these children were different than regular human children. They were very, very giant, very big. And if you read the book of Enoch, and the book of Enoch used to be a very important book of the Bible up to a certain point. But then later, and I don't remember exactly what century it was removed. And you got to think that there's probably a lot of reasons why it was removed. It gives too much information, too much truth to what's about to start happening in the end times. And they don't want that information to be known to all of us. They want everyone to be in darkness and to not realize the truth. So they took it out. Because the book of Enoch really, it tells a lot about these fallen angels, like what their whole intentions were, and what they were up to, and how they swore together with them, all of them together, to do this thing with each other, to go and pick a wife out on earth and to have children, and so you just have to do a lot of research and to see this. And you have to realize that we don't have every book of the Bible in our Bible. Some of it's missing, and this is one of the books that are missing. And it talks about this fallen angels and humans and mixing DNA. It's all there, and it's about to start happening again. Okay, God flooded the world because of this. That's the whole real reason behind the flood. And it's right here in Genesis 6 if you read it. And a lot of times I don't guess people get their Bibles out and read the whole story for themselves. Because to be honest with you, I heard the story of Noah, Noah and the Great Flood whenever I was a child. I actually colored pictures, and I went to a Christian school, and I can't remember if the Christian school was teaching us. I remember we talked about David and Goliath, the giant, but I don't know if they were actually teaching, that there was actual giants in the world. I can't remember if it wasn't even a thought to even think about. But most churches nowadays, they don't get into the heavy into details. They leave out a lot of stuff that is very important, that needs to be known. Okay, let's continue reading with Genesis 6, starting with verse 5. And God saw that the wickedness of men was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thought of his heart was only evil constantly. And it repented the Lord that the Lord had made men on earth, and it grieved him at his heart. And the Lord said, I will destroy man, whom I have created from the face of the earth, both men and beasts, and the creepy things, and the fowls of the air, for it repenteth me that I have made them. But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. Okay, the fallen angels, they weren't only mixing DNA with humans. They were also mixing DNA with animals. And if you look back at stone walls that have pictures, ancient pictures carved in on them, you'll see pictures of people who are half human and half horse or something like that, and you'll see some that are half fish, half human, like a mermaid. You just have to go back and take a look, and you'll see what I'm talking about. And not only that, but if you take a look at these carvings from a long time ago on rocks and stuff, you'll see pictures of aliens, and you'll see pictures of UFOs. Okay, so they were around. They were around during this time. Long time ago. They were here before. Okay, and God had to destroy the earth because they were mixing their DNA with ours, and it was destroying God's creation. So he had to do what he had to do, because if he didn't, how would you look today? Just out of curiosity, how would you look? You wouldn't look human, So God had to do what he did, and he put restriction on them that they weren't to return until the end times, you know, close to the end times, and they're here, they're back. In fact, we live amongst them. I mean, you just don't know it. You probably sit by somebody that's a fallen angel or hybrid, and you don't even realize it because they mix with us so well. The only way that you might be able to tell is sometimes when you look at their eyes will have like cat eye slits. You know, that's one way you might be able to tell. And they call them reptilians. And I remember I've seen one before. I worked at a strip club. I was working as a dancer. I'm not proud of this. It was before I gave my life to Christ. I was working, you know, as a dancer. And one night when I was working, this group of men came in. And I remember thinking they looked kind of weird because they all came in looking like, you know, they just walked out of a meeting. They had suit and ties. And they all had this big, huge, like, looked like a big, huge senior ring type thing on their hands, you know. And I can't really remember the ring too well, but I remember it looked kind of creepy. And they were sitting there, and the lights came on for a brief minute, you know, for a few minutes or something, because sometimes they turn on the lights during like a break time where they gotta clean the tables or something like that. And sometimes they do it whenever they have what they call dollar dance, and they turn on the lights so the girls don't accidentally trip over a chair or trip over a table. And the lights had came on for some reason, and I got a good look at them, and it was like they started changing. Their face and their eyes, their head shape was changing in front of me. I thought that somebody had put something in my drink, you know, because I was drinking Coke. I wasn't drinking alcohol, I was drinking Coke. And I got creeped out, you know. They were trying to invite me to come and sit with them, but since I saw that they were changing and their eyes looked like demon eyes with little slits, I didn't want to sit with them. I got scared and just like, no way, you know. And went and told some of the other girls what I had saw. Some of them seemed like they were interested, but there was some that just like, you know, whatever, you know, like, you know, who cares, what's the big deal kind of attitude. And I've even noticed that when I was working there was some girls that worked in that club that didn't seem like they were quite normal, because they would do things like strange movements that were not normal. Like not a normal, in my opinion, a normal human couldn't bend the way they were bending. You know, it's just weird. And I used to think about that. I was like, how could she do that? I mean, even if I sit there and practice trying to do that every single day and got like down to like, I don't know, 50 pounds or 98 pounds, I wouldn't have never been able to do what she was doing, like the way she was bending, you know. And it was just very bizarre. And but I'm glad that God took me out of there, and I'm glad I don't work in there anymore. And I would never recommend anyone to ever work at a club like that. And it's very degrading. I mean, I even had a customer bite me, you know, so it's an unsafe environment, and I would not recommend it, and I'm not proud of it. And I'm very grateful I'm not there anymore. And I'm thankful that God, you know, He waited for me to come back to Him. I mean, the end times could have started right then, you know, a couple of years ago, you know, and He could have had the rapture, and I could have been stuck in that club and missed out. But I'm glad that I got out of it just in time. Well, anyways, I want to go back to this Genesis 6 and about the giants. Well, they are coming back, and they're already here. Let's put it that way. They're already here. But they're going to announce on the media that they come from another planet, when that's not even true. They're going to say they're aliens, which in a sense they are, but they're fallen angels. And they're going to trick and deceive as many people as they can into thinking that these beings, these fallen angels, this army of Satan, were the ones who created us, and that we come from them. And that isn't going to be true at all. And they're going to try to sell us into technologies that they are probably going to say is going to make us be more like them, which is nonsense. You know, like if you take a chip in your right hand or a chip in your forehead, you'll have eternal life and you can live forever, or you might be able to be young and beautiful again, or you know, have the perfect weight. You know, if you have a problem with your weight or something, you might be able to maintain your weight if you take this mark of the beast chip. You know, it's this chip is not just a chip that they're going to put in people's bodies. It's a DNA changer, just like they did right before God flooded the world. They were changing people's DNA, and the same thing's going to happen during the end times. They're going to start trying to change people's DNA. You know, and once you change your DNA and you take this mark of the beast, you no longer will belong to God. You will belong to Satan, and he will own you. And you won't. I mean, this is just my personal opinion, and this isn't from. I don't know if it's in the Bible. I haven't read anything about it in the Bible about it, so I'm not going to say it is in the Bible. This is just. I'm going to repeat that so people can hear it. This is just my own personal opinion. That what I'm about to say. I think that each person, regardless if they believe in God or not, they're born with this like a spirit of God in them, even if they don't know it's there. It's there because we belong to God. We have His image. We are part of Him. And that's what I believe. And that I believe that some of these people who don't know that God's real, they do get they do have like proof, like they get like, how you explain it, God talks to them, but they're just not listening. They're not hearing. They're confused in what they think that is. They think that maybe they're talking to themselves or something like that whenever they hear you know something saying, you know, some people say it's just self-conscious, it's your conscience talking to you, but sometimes that's God talking to you when it tells you, why are you doing this? You know, you shouldn't be doing this. You know, it's not just, it goes beyond just your conscience. You know, and that's the way I feel. And people that don't know God, they don't listen to that, or if they do, they say it's just their conscience talking to them, and they don't realize that it's also God talking to them, telling them right from wrong. Don't be doing that. That's not right. You shouldn't shoot that person in the face. That's wrong. You know, but they don't realize that. They don't connect the dots. You know, and they don't realize that God is real and God is in them. You know, and they just have to open up their heart or their minds, and Jesus will come in and make everything even more, you know, easier for them to see and understand. But anyways, my point is that once you take the mark, the presence that you have that is of God will be gone. And see, God is love, and that's how come I say everybody is born with that, because even non-believers can love their neighbor. You know what I mean? Even non-believers love their children. But I really feel that when you take the mark of the beast, you're not going to be able to love, because love don't come from Satan, and God will leave that person. So they won't be able to really have natural love in them anymore. It'll all be fake. They'll have like a fake personality. They'll mimic human emotions, but it won't be real. It'll be like a robot. They'll just go through the motions, but it won't even be for reals. And all because they took the mark of the beast. And they'll feel different too. They'll feel like something had left them, and they'll probably feel like something like an emptiness inside them after they take this mark of the beast. And they'll be more controllable too, because you know, they'll be mind controlled real easily by the government or whoever wants to control them, because I don't know, part of the chip thing. But I would never take it. And in this world, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to take humans and they're trying to take robots and combine the two to make what they call, I think they call it transhumanism. And I think that's crazy because how many people's had like a cell phone that didn't operate correctly after they've had it for about, I don't know, 3 weeks or something like that, or a month or 3 months. It just stopped working on them. Or how many people still have the same car that they've had like over 20 years ago or 15 years ago. That it seems like people change their change cars, they get new TVs because the technology keeps changing, plus things break, it malfunctions, and then people are thinking that they're going to put this chip in their body that could malfunction. It doesn't make sense to me why anyone would even attempt to do anything like that. And I would strongly recommend not ever putting a mark of the beast, any kind of technology like that, like a RFID chip, a tattoo, or whatever on your skin, under the skin. It don't really matter. I wouldn't do it because the Bible says that in the end times, the Antichrist will cause everyone to take a mark on their right hand or their forehead, and if you don't have this mark, you won't be able to buy or sell. And I wouldn't do it. It's not worth it. But anyways, when I was going back to this, the aliens and the fallen angels, they're part of this mark of the beast technology. That's what they were doing right before God flooded the world. They were messing with people's DNA. And now they're going to do it again. And see, last time they had the reason they were doing it is because they were trying to prevent Jesus from being born. And this time they're just doing it to build up the army, so whenever they have the last battle on earth against Jesus, they think they might win, but they won't win. No matter how many hybrids and how many people are joining their side, they're not going to win. So whatever you do, don't fall for the lies, because here soon they're going to announce that the fallen angels, aliens, are here, and that they're here to help us, and that we come from them, and I don't know, a bunch of baloney. Don't believe any of it, because they've been here before, and because God flooded the world the last time they were here, and all this time they were gone. It doesn't make any sense to me, and why they all of a sudden want to come back and say they want to help us. They're not here to help us. It's just it's a lie from Satan. It's a lie. They're not here to help us, and they're just part of the army of Satan. And also, I wanted to explain this to you. Also, when God flooded the world, the giants that died during the flood, their spirits became demons. That's where we get demons from. Okay, they were the giants that were on this earth. And if you read the Bible, you'll notice that the first part of the Bible, it doesn't speak of demons until like later on. Then it starts talking about that there were demons on the earth, and that was after the flood, after God flooded the world, and that's when the demons came into the world. And that's where we get demons from. And demons can be in the form of a ghost. They can take many different types of appearances. And so don't fall for their lies either. And I just wanted to share that with you too. And I think this is important information because we are living in the end times. If you pay attention to the world that we're living in right now, you'll notice that we have an increase in earthquakes. You'll notice that we've been having a lot of, strange and terrible weather. You'd notice there's been a rise in riots, and the Bible says there will be wars and rumors of wars, and it seems like that's what's going on right now. And earthquakes in diverse places, and that's going on right now. And then the New World Order that's talked about in Revelation, which is the world coming under a one world leader, which is the Antichrist, but the world calls it a one world leader. You know, that's going on, and that's also Bible prophecy. And then of course the mark of the beast technology, which is already here, which is also Bible prophecy. And all the fish and the animals that are dying off is the Hosea prophecy, and that's going on right now too. And then we have the signs in the heavens, you know, like stars and meteors and asteroids, and you know, the blood moons that we're having right now. Those are the signs in heaven that the Bible speaks about. And then all the scoffers that we got that are purposely coming out against Christians, you know, more than they have ever in the past. Because like in the 80s, it was, you know, you wouldn't hear people telling other people you can't have a cross on a military grave, you know what I mean? And nowadays we got groups of people, I don't know what they're called, but they're part of a what do you call them, atheist groups that they're protesting, or they're going and demanding that crosses that are on like graves that, you know, for military people be removed, and crosses that are on property, any kind of property, they want removed. And they want the 10 Commandments removed from government property, but they want to put an ugly, scary statue of Baphomet, I think that's how you say the name, which is, in my opinion, just another term for Satan, and it's a horned-looking Satan being, where you could sit in the lap of Satan and have your picture taken, I guess. But and that's in Oklahoma City, you know. And then they have what you call the Georgia Guidestones that are pretty demonic if you read what's on them, and that's pretty much the 10 Commandments for the New World Order, which are Satan's 10 Commandments, you know. And a lot of people want to live their life with their head stuck in the sand, and they don't want to open their eyes and see what times that they're living in. And because some people are so afraid to open their eyes and see the truth. But you know what? People need to know that we are living in these times. And if you turn your life over to Jesus, you have nothing to be afraid of. Now, I mean, a lot of people who are living in the world and they don't give their life to Jesus, they call people who are talking about this kind of stuff fearmongers. Well, that's, in my opinion, that's because they are afraid, because they haven't gave their life to Christ. They're afraid. And unfortunately, yes, we are living in a fearful time. But it's but there's, how you explain it? You have to wake up and smell the coffee, because it's the truth. You know what I mean? You can't sit there and live in denial just because you're too afraid of admitting what's going on around you. It's the truth, and it's time to wake up, and it's time to give your life to Christ, and you know, be prepared, because here soon there's going to be a rapture, and there's going to be many people that's going to be missing from the earth. I don't know. The Bible says that everyone will see him, and they'll know that was Jesus that took his people. But then other people say it's going to be a secret rapture. But regardless of what kind of rapture it is, I'm pretty sure that there's going to be some kind of excuse, like alien excuse. And they're not going to try to say it was a rapture for Jesus, and they're going to try to lie about it. So you need to keep that in mind too, because this world is ran by Satan. I mean, I've had atheists sit there and say stuff like they don't believe in God, because how could there be a God if there's so much suffering in this world that we live in? Well, God never promised us in this world that we live in that we wouldn't be, you know, there wouldn't be suffering. Because see, what happened was we did have the perfect world at one time. When Adam and Eve was on earth, we had the perfect world. We had the Garden of Eden. But then sin entered into the world. And when sin entered in, when they disobeyed God's command, when sin entered the world, and we come from them, you know, there's no way around it. You know, we come from them. So if they get punished, then any children that's born after them has to live the same life that they lived. You see what I'm saying? Because we can't be born and then, go back into the garden. That's not how it worked. I mean, God could have probably killed Adam and Eve and started completely over, but that wouldn't show that God's a merciful and loving and kind God. He wanted to show that he can be merciful, loving, and kind, and he gave them a chance, and he let them live outside the garden. And outside the garden, this is how life is. Life isn't going to be a cushion, We're going to have trials, we're going to have tribulations, we're going to have hardship, we're going to have heartbreaks, and that's just part of this life, because Satan is running this world right now. He's the one who's causing the pain, the suffering, and all that. And see, people are just not putting the blame where it belongs. They're putting the blame on God, And of course, God is not going to interfere in our lives, and unless it's something like, he saves you from a car accident, or he cures you from, because God can cure people of diseases and stuff, and he's done it before. So that kind of stuff, but he's not going to sit there and constantly interfere in people's lives. You have to call up on Jesus and ask for his protection from Satan, and then of course he'll protect you from it having so much pain and suffering in this world. But you have to believe in him and trust in him. But that still doesn't mean you're not going to have suffering. I believe in Jesus and I believe in God, and I sometimes still suffer pain. I still suffer losses. My life isn't peachy keen. I don't have like a cushion life, but that's okay, because I know that God gives me what I need and only what I need. He doesn't give me what I don't need, because there's a reason for it that maybe I don't understand. There might be a reason that I don't understand, that's why he does things the way he does. And I'm just grateful for the things I have. I'm grateful that my life isn't, it could be worse. My life isn't really, really bad, and it's just as good as it can be. I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful I'm not working in a strip club anymore. I'm grateful that God pulled me out of that. I'm grateful that I have my life and my health. I'm grateful I have 2 healthy children. I'm grateful for a lot of things. I could be living outside, on the street, but even if I was living on the street, I'm pretty sure I can find things to be grateful for, even if I'm out there on the street, because God, he will take care and provide for me even if I was on the street, and I'd be grateful for that. He gives us what we need, not what we want. And people seem to think that God's some kind of genie. You make a wish and poof, there it is. And that's not how it works. God is a loving God, and he's not going to bribe you for you to believe in him. He's not going to do a magical tricks, and to gain you as a a believer in him. He's not going to do things like that. Either you believe in him or you don't. And I'm sorry if this doesn't sound all that great, because sometimes I have a hard time keeping track with my thinking, because I have a lot of outside interruptions, because I got little puppies and they make a lot of noises sometimes, or I get interrupted by my kids, or I get interruptions by my phone. So I thought I'd let y'all know, but I try to keep on track when I'm making my videos. And also I had to start a new YouTube channel because my other YouTube channel got attacked. And then I made another YouTube channel, and then that one got attacked. But it's still up. I haven't lost my channel yet. But that one there, they cut my time down to 15 minutes videos. And I'm going to use, so I just started to use the one I made for my my bird. I'm going to use this one for that, because I got plenty of time. I can make long videos and not have only 15 minutes on it. And I'll just make sure not to put anything that's maybe questionable, like, copyright material or something like that. And just keep it about me talking, or just Bible verses, or, some kind of pictures that are free that you can upload, or, something like that. And then if I have something that's questionable that might be copyrighted, or could be copyrighted or whatever, somebody might be mean or hateful, I put it on the other channel. But I just wanted to share I just wanted to share this with y'all. And I'll probably be talking a lot about this, making a lot of videos repeating myself, because this needs to be heard by more than one person. And so I just want to let y'all know that too. I might be making a lot of videos about don't take the mark of the beast, just because it needs to be out there. And on my videos on this channel, y'all can download them and upload them and do whatever you want with them. I really don't care. You don't even have to give me any credit, because I really don't care about that stuff. All I care is that God's word gets put out there and people get saved. That's all I care about. It's not, this has nothing to do with me. It has all to do with God and Jesus. This is what this is for Jesus and to help others. So if y'all want to use my videos, feel free to do that, because I really don't care. And God bless you all, and I love you. Our world is in control by Satan right now, and a lot of that information, they don't want people to know about, because then it would prove more to people that the Bible is true. The only way that you can actually find this information is if you dig for it, and I've digged around, and I see the proof. But you have to also realize that there's a lot of people out there that hate the Bible and Jesus so much that they even go as far as trying to make up fake pictures, with the Photoshop, to throw in with the pictures that are real, so that way when you see that one that's fake, then you'll think they're all fake. So you got to keep that in mind, because they do that on purpose to try to take credit, take the truth away from people, so that way everything looks like a lie. That's why they do it, because they don't want people to know that the Bible is real and true. And so you need to keep that in mind. But right here it says there were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that. So it was even after the flood, witness of men. And it says right here that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, and he took them wives of all which they chose. And the Lord said, my spirit shall not always strive with men, for that he also is flesh. Why would he use that phrase for flesh? Think about it. Yet his days shall be 120 years. There were giants in the earth in those days. Why would it say that? It's this right here tells you what was going on. There was, it says there are giants in the earth. Okay, not only is Genesis 6 talk about there's a lot of scriptures in the Bible that talks about the giants. And there's even a story about David and Goliath, and Goliath was a giant. So they were real. They were really real. And in fact, they have what do you call archaeologists have actually found huge skeletons, but you don't hear about it, because of course it says, and it came to pass, when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them. Okay, when you read that verse, it's basically talking about humans. It says, when it came to pass, when human began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters, humans, were born unto them. People. This is talking about people. Okay, then it goes to, verse 2, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men. Now, why would it be talking about just humans if it, when it says it like that? It doesn't make sense. If it was just talking about just regular humans, it wouldn't state it like that. Okay, it says sons of God saw the daughters of men. Daughters of men is humans. Sons of God, that would make it seem like it's not human. It would be angels, like fallen angels. We have good angels and we have bad angels. And the bad angels that were the sons of God, they that's what the Bible calls the angels, the sons of God. They saw the daughters, the sons of God came unto the daughters of men, and they bore children to them. The same became mighty men, which were of old, men of renown. Right there it tells you that they bore children, and these children were different than regular human children. They were very, very giant, very big. And if you read the book of Enoch, and the book of Enoch used to be a very important book of the Bible up to a certain point. But then later, and I don't remember exactly what century it was removed. And you got to think that there's probably a lot of reasons why it was removed. It gives too much information, too much truth to what's about to start happening in the end times. And they don't want that information to be known to all of us. They want everyone to be in darkness and to not realize the truth. So they took it out. Because the book of Enoch really, it tells a lot about these fallen angels, like what their whole intentions were, and what they were up to, and how they... Hello, this is Cheyenne, and I'd like to speak with you about something that's really, really important. And I think it's something that we need to spread around and make sure that everyone knows about. Because here soon there's going to be a big event that's going to take place, and it's going to be all over the news channel. And what it's going to be about is about the aliens. And people don't realize what the aliens really truly are, and they're going to fall for this terrible lie. And people need to realize that these aliens have been here before. They were here before the flood. In fact, they are the reason why God flooded the world. And I know that a lot of y'all that do go to church may not have heard about that when y'all went to Sunday school or were in church and stuff like that. But it's there in the Bible if you read Genesis 6. Okay, go to Genesis 6 and let's read this together. And I use the King James Version Bible. It's the one I like the most.